Let's focus on God, putting faith in God. Episode 5. Hello everyone, it's Autumn Rountree sharing with you another podcast. I decided to create this episode as a continuation on the previous subject discussed, which was faith. Today I will be talking about 1 Samuel, particularly concerning the story of Elkanah and his family. But before I go into the topic, I'll start this podcast in prayer. Dear God, thank you for allowing me a chance to do another podcast. Please guide my podcast listeners through this episode and bless their hearts as they hear the story of faith in Elkanah's family. We appreciate your graciousness while the scriptures are being spoken. Amen and amen. The topic setting starts in 1 Samuel chapter 1, verses 1 through 7. Elkanah was married to two women. One was Hannah and the other was Peninnah. The two were rivals according to 1 Samuel chapter 1, verses 6 and 7. Hannah wanted a child, although at the current time she couldn't have one because God shut her womb. Elkanah was in a polygamous relationship, which may have affected how the women felt about each other. Peninnah had children of her own and was disrespectful to Hannah, possibly because of her husband was more thoughtful of Hannah. You can find this in 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 5. Why do you think Elkanah cherished Hannah more than Peninnah? Maybe it's because Hannah couldn't have children, so he felt sorry for her. Maybe it's because Hannah was his first wife, which made that situation more endearing. Despite her grieving, she turned to God and prayed for a son. She also made a vow that once her child was born, she would give him to the Lord, and he would be a Nazirite, which would mean his hair would never be cut. This would be public and a visible sign to everyone due to the vow. Someone named Eli, a high priest, saw Hannah praying, and he gave her his blessings through her time of grief and sorrow. This uplifted her spirits as she received the promise with faith. Her dedication to God fulfilled her heart and renewed her faith, although the promise was not yet due. This is found in 1 Samuel chapter 1, verses 17 through 18. The Bible also states that Elkanah and Hannah worshipped early before the Lord, and before long the news comes that Hannah had conceived a child, which she named Samuel. Her continuous faith in God gave her courage and had pursued patience. You can read 1 Samuel chapter 1, verses 19 through 20 to see what I'm talking about. Faith can play a big part in a person's life like Hannah's. Faith is absolutely essential in receiving God's blessings. Hannah received God's blessings just by reaching out to him on a daily basis for comfort and strength. I also wanted to discuss a very similar biblical story that compares with Hannah's. It also deals with faith and trusting that God will pull people through. It's about Elizabeth and her husband Zacharias, who were two elderly people. The couple were very religious but had no children. You can find this in Luke chapter 1, verses 5 through 7. Elizabeth could not have children even as an older woman, but the couple prayed and stayed faithful to God. Having no children were a sign of God's disfavor, leading to social scorn and ridicule. This is a piece of information I found on a website, which is womaninscripture.com/Elizabeth. The source reveals that Elizabeth was at least 60 years old and well past childbearing years. In those days, women without children were either belittled or became gossip among other Jewish women. Elizabeth had strength in God while dealing with this emotional strain. Luckily enough, an angel came to Zacharias and announced that his wife Elizabeth would have a son. He is also told that his son's name will be John. The angel also claimed that the child will be a delight to his parents in the world and be wonderful before the eyes of the Lord. Because Zacharias is in so much disbelief, he becomes mute. Read Luke chapter 1, verses 11 through 20. Being in such a way almost kept Zacharias from telling Elizabeth what happened. Anyway, somehow he was able to tell his wife the good news. She believes it to be true and is humble and grateful for the blessing. You can read more about this story in full detail by referring back to the website womaninscripture.com/Elizabeth for complete insight. Finally, I have some questions to ask before I close the podcast. Question 1. Why do you think Elizabeth and Hannah had so much faith in God? Question 2. What do you think they did to keep their faith active? Question 3. Do you believe that faith will carry you through? Question 4. In what ways have you increased your faith in God? Question 5. Is it possible to strengthen your faith, and what must you do for that to happen? You can answer these questions in the message area on my Anchor page or send me a private email at focusonThisPodcast@gmail.com if you wish to participate. As always, if you enjoyed this podcast, please contribute to the listener support part of the program. If you have any comments or suggestions for this or any future biblical-based podcasts, please leave them in the message area and or my email, focusonThisPodcast@gmail.com. That's focusonThisPodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening.